Hello, everyone. How are you? Hey, what happened at Brea this week? It was a 2-hour episode, The Wedding and the Swarm. Let's talk about the wedding first, because that happened first. Ty returns to camp. He's cured of the immovable brain tumor from James's and the scientist. He has to take pills, apparently, after so long and that. And he wants to marry the love of his life, Pabula. It's hard to pronounce. I'm going to pronounce it Pabula. She's leader of the other tribe, and this way both groups can live together in peace and harmony instead of constantly fighting each other, then not fighting each other, and then helping each other, and then fighting each other throughout the first 2 seasons here of LA Bree so far. Ty asked James to be at the wedding, which is kind of skeptical at first because people don't like him and that, but he promises he won't cause any trouble. He gets to meet his grandson Josh for the very first time. Him, Josh, and Gavin share some drinks at the wedding. Julio, he's kind of like a mid-character cast member. He is drunk as hell. And they ask him, like, how can you be drunk? He's like, I got a stash of wine, guys. He's like burping, and you can smell the wine on him, apparently. So he hands off some wine to them, but he keeps the good shit for himself, like. Scott is sworn by Wyndham and Man of the Tribe, thanking him for killing the leader of the Exiles last week. So they agree peacefully about those people after them and killing them. He's showered with a bunch of gifts and stuff, like a leather belt, a fur coat, a knife, and all that kind of stuff. And Scott's like, okay, cool, like, thanks, right? Lucas and Veronica decide to go spend the night romantically by themselves, and Veronica wants to know how her kidnapper, basically, that pretended to be her father when she was a little kid, how he came in possession of the journal that the people had here, the scientists, when they first arrived into the sinkhole for all those years, spent time down the building the tower, doing stuff and all that, how the hell that book and him ended up in 2023, basically. Lucas takes her to a kind of like a hot tub kind of thing to take her mind off of stuff, and it works. Back at the wedding, everybody's having a good time. James runs into Caroline. He doesn't know Caroline is back. That was a secret to him. That's his wife, by the way. He tries to say, I'm going to fix Fames, so our marriage will never have failed. We could have raised Gavin up as ourselves instead of letting the tribe people raise him up. And Caroline says no. And whatever you got planned ain't going to work. And James says it will work. And I'm like, what plans he got, right? Because I'm kind of curious myself. Also at the wedding, Izzy is happy Levi's back. You kind of find out when Izzy was going through physical therapy with a damaged leg and stuff. Levi was the one there. Because during this time, Gavin was not doing so good with the visions and stuff. And nobody was believing him, by the way. Levi was there for Izzy more than Gavin was. And pushed her to do the physical therapy. So she's thankful he's back. She feels so sorry that his wife died 10 years ago in the past there. Now it's back to the present. This time travel stuff is kind of confusing. I apologize, folks. Then she knows Levi's picking poisonous flowers and smashing them into herb form. He poisons James' drink and goes to give it to him. Izzy told Eve. Eve stopped it. And James is kind of taken back. Why is Levi wanting to kill me? And that's as far as that goes for this first hour. Ty and Pabula get married. It's a good reception. Then after the marriage, after the wedding, everything goes to shit. Gavin goes in an tent to find out why Caroline wasn't at the wedding, and Caroline's dead. His mother's dead, folks. Someone killed her. There's blood everywhere. And James comes around the corner. Gavin slams him against the wall and says, "You son of a bitch, what did you do?" And James like, "I swear I walked in basically like 2 minutes before you did. I swear I didn't do this." And Gavin lets him go. All of a sudden, people are shouting outside and screaming. Eve and Josh show up and says, "You gotta come. Something's happened." Cyrus shows up. Cyrus is like the second leader of the tribe of these people. Pabula's first in command. Cyrus is second in command. Cyrus, the old guy that's Gavin's grandfather, he's been shot, but he lived. And he points, but he doesn't point at James. He points at Kara. James is second in command. Then all of a sudden, Kara and the soldiers that have been loyal to James surround everybody. She takes Ty hostage. They get away. Come find out she has a plan. She said, James, you lost focus on your plan. I will fix the machine the way I want to fix it. I don't care if sinkholes happen and stuff like that. I'm taking over as the head of the scientists of the Lazarus Project. And you kind of find out Caroline had handed the journal over to Cyrus. But Kara had followed them, and that's how she got the book. That's how that episode ends. The second episode starts out. Veronica is talking to Cyrus in a tent. Cyrus is all bandaged up. Sam's doing the best to save him. He says, I did all I can do. I patched up the wounds. I took the bullets out. It's up to him. He needs rest and all that to get well. And Veronica asks him, did you know of a guy named Ethan? I believe that was his name. Which was the guy pretending to be her father that actually kidnapped her and Lily as kids. And raised him as his own. And Cyrus says, yes, I know him. And you kind of find out, here's the secret. Here's how he got the book. This was cool. Apparently, he came down with the team of scientists, the 9 scientists in the crew, to study this land below the sinkhole. Study the animals like the saber-toothed tigers and the mammoths and stuff. Built the Lazarus Tower. And kind of find out he was a lab assistant that was stealing other people's work and passing off as his own. Well, apparently somebody did the research on how to fix the portal to cure the sinkhole. Fix it so there'll be no more sinkholes erupting when the portal activates. And the scientist that created this research that died, this guy stole his research and was trying to pass off his own, but he got caught. So apparently he went through the portal, went back in time, and James I sent people after him. Nobody could ever find him. He stayed hidden for many years. So Veronica asks Cyrus, what are these numbers? That's what I'm trying to figure out. But Cyrus, doesn't know that part. He doesn't know what those numbers mean. Veronica deciphers it herself and can't find out the coordinates to a location in the clearing that's miles away. And her and Lucas are going to go explore what that is. But before they do that, shit hits the fan. Eve, Izzy, and Gavin go with James to try to stop Kara for what she's going to do at the Lazarus Tower and to save Ty. Pabula is going to go get some more reinforcement soldiers to help storm that tower. And the rest of the survivors there's not more we can do, so we're going to head back to camp, our camp. So they go back to camp, like Lucas, Scott, Veronica, Lily, Julio, and all them. Raleigh. And some of the people that did not go to the wedding have stayed behind and built a homemade water tower, which makes sense, right? Well, not underneath of them, in the ground, is a nest, a wasp that live on the ground that are disturbed by noise. And of course, when they are pounding the stakes to the water tower in, that causes noise. All of a sudden, cracks open up. There's a rumbling, hissing sound. Wasps swarm out. They start attacking people, stinging them. And their stings are poisonous. So people start dying. And everybody scatters into the clearing. Riley, Scott, and Veronica hide in a truck, then in a bus. Lily got stabbed, and she was left behind. So they search the bus, which Sam uses as his makeshift ambulance kind of thing, because he's a medical doctor in the army there. And they find an anti-venom needle, only one, by the way. So they're well, how can we get this to Lily to save her in time? So then Scott, being a history buff teenager back at university in 2023, knows this type of wasp, locust, and they can kill by water or fire. So they decide to slowly sneak to the watchtower because the wasps are attracted by sound. They start filling the cracks in the ground full of water, and it works. It starts killing the wasp. But now they only have to deal with the wasp that's out and about. So Veronica makes it to Lily. Then all of a sudden she steps on something. No, I'm sorry. She trips and falls, and she makes a noise, and the wasps start attacking her. She ends up getting Lily into a back of a vehicle to keep her safe, while Raleigh and Scott basically make a homemade flamethrower and start killing the locust wasp and get to them. They get to Veronica and Lily. Veronica goes to stab Lily with the anti-venom pen to save her. Then Scott realizes Veronica got stung. And they're like, oh shit. Like, basically, which sister's gonna live, which sister's gonna die scenario, right? I'm like, oh, I was like shocked. Well, Veronica goes to stab Lily to save her. And Lily at the end grabs the vein and stabs Veronica. Lily, folks, has died from the poisonous sting. Veronica's upset that basically the woman she basically considers her sister that never isn't biologically her sister, but she considers her sister, is dead. She's upset. Lucas, the other ones return. They find out what happens. Raleigh comforts Veronica. She's upset over the campfire. Then it goes to the rest of the group. Eve, Gavin, Izzy, and James arrive at the Lazarus Tower. And they try to sneak in. And James knows of a secret passageway. But then one of these soldiers show up. And James like, he's loyal to me. He's the only loyal one I know of right now. And he says, sir, we have a problem. And James says, what's that? He said, Kara has released security protocol beta, or whatever you want to call it. And they're like, oh, crap. And they're like, what's that? He says, she's let loose the saber-toothed tigers that's in there, the python snakes, stuff like that. That's a security measure in case someone has stormed the tower. So they sneak in. They find Ty. He shows up all of a sudden. And apparently Kara had that Ty go, because she no longer needed him as hostage. And Ty was following him from behind. And James says it's a good thing you're here because you're going to have to get a stockpile of those pills to keep that tumor from coming back and stuff. So they storm the tower to stop Kara. They split up. Gavin goes one way. Ty goes to get the pills he needs. Then we'll hook up with Gavin. Izzy goes other direction. And Eve goes with James. All of a sudden, Levi shows up. Apparently, it shows a scene where he knocked out Sam and took some explosives. He shows up and starts playing explosives all throughout the Lazarus Tower. He's going to blow that thing to Kingdom Come. Gavin tries to stop him. Levi says, you don't get it. Not only did I lose my wife, I lost my daughter. And Gavin says, what? He says, we were in a building. Apparently that was had answers how to stop the sinkholes from happening from some people. It was an ambush. The group got massacred. I was the only one that survived. Somebody blew up the building. I'm the only one that made it out. So he said apparently James has something to do with it. Apparently he has sent the soldiers after him, from my understanding. Gavin goes to flip the switch. He flips it, activates it. It's a 15-minute timer. Ty shows up. Ty is in the middle of getting the pills where Gavin screams for help. Ty goes to help him, and Gavin is being chased by two saber-toothed tigers. Levi left him basically alone. Gavin locks one of them behind a door, but he almost gets killed by the other one that leaves like bloody footprints behind. That was cool. Ty kills it with the axe. And Ty doesn't tell Gavin he didn't get the pills. She came back to save him. Gavin, Ty, Izzy try to stop Levi from setting off the timer to blow up the building. Levi has a change of heart because Izzy's there. He goes to stop the timer, but when he unplugs it, the timer starts going down faster, counting down faster. And he's like, oh shit. So they start running. Then it shows James and Eve. James is on a computer screen trying to stop the bomb going off and trying to stop whatever Kara is doing. Eve walks up to James and notices a thing called Project Blue Moon. Eve says, "What's this got to do with trying to stop Kara and all that?" James smashes a glass vase behind Eve's back of her head and knocks her right out. And you find out what James has planned, folks. James is going to go back in time and fix his marriage. He's going to fix it so there's no mistakes. He's never, he raises Gavin up better as a father. He treats Caroline better, stuff like that. But if he does this, and this is why Eve tried to stop him, is that Eve and Gavin would never meet. So Josh and Izzy would cease to exist. Other people they would know would cease to exist and stuff like that. Basically, he would erase the past and it would cause a whole bunch of problems in the timeline. That's why James knocked her out, and then James left. The episode ends with the tower exploding. You don't know what's happened. The tower blew up. I'm like, did Eve make it out? Did Gavin make it out? Stuff like that. That's how the episode ends. It was a cool 2-hour episode. I enjoyed it. I like the second episode better, more than the first, but overall I did like both of them. Next week is the season finale, and it's an utter 2-hour episode. Wow. And the only clips they show is like this fire, the building's destroyed, then it shows like Eve's unconscious, trapped under stuff, then it shows like Gavin's with Izzy, stuff like that. So it looks like they kind of made it out. But Eve, I don't know if she made it or not because she's trapped under stuff. Then it shows Lucas and Veronica and some other people are going to this, follow these coordinates, like this basically longitude, latitude number she figured out. And it just shows James by this random looking door. So I think James knows about his other location. And know what I think it is, folks? I think it's the other portal room. And that's the portal he's going to use to go back in time to fix his past, which will cause a whole bunch of trouble in the timeline. That's why I think you're going to see Veronica all of them lead up to, because that's where the coordinates are going to take them. I might be wrong. I don't know. Hopefully I'm not, because that's the only way I can figure out how James is going to try to get back to time, because the other portal's gone bye-bye. Let me know below what you thought of LA Brea if you watched it this week. What did you think of Caroline dying? Who killed her? I got a hunch it was Ty. Because remember, Ty owns James's life. And James said, when time comes, you have to do something for me. You have no hesitation. You must do it. Was if he ordered Ty to kill Caroline. That's what I'm thinking he did. Stay safe, everybody. Too sweet. Bye.